you know, that's that's the main thing. The players need to represent themselves as actual stars, and they bring their haters or their lovers into the leagues to watch them.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to GameKheyl. I'm Naveed, and today we have someone really special here with us. We have two amazing gents in Proxer and Gancho. Gancho coming in for the second time in GameKheyl. That is the first. We've not had anyone again here at GameKheyl, but today we have Gancho and Proxer, and we are going to cover something that's awesome, something that is very close to my heart, and we're going to talk about Cage Ridge and now ECA. So we're going to talk about what ECA is, how it came about, what are the things that everyone can look forward to, and there's a bit of metaverse involved that we're going to cover a little bit moving forward in this interview. So before we start, gentlemen, how are we doing today? First, starting off with Proxer.
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me here on, this is an incredible experience for me, and being here, I'm really happy to be here, and thank you for having me once again.
How about you, sir? Gancho.
Very well, Navid, very well. It's a pleasure to be here in GameKheyl. I've seen the channel grows a lot. Very interesting interviews you've been doing lately, and it's just a pleasure. As a friend of mine, it's always great to have a little chit chat with you and share some ideas.
It's amazing to hear both of you because we've worked together previously as well. We have also had our conversations again with Proxer. We have shared booth multiple times here on GameKheyl, also in Cage Rage, and with Gancho we go way back even before Cage Rage became live. So it's absolutely amazing to have you both here again. And I think right off the bat, we have to talk about ECA, Esports Combat Association. Looks like we're taking this seriously now. We are turning this into big leagues. I mean, the presentation looks awesome. You've been able to constantly evolve this brand that was Cage Rage into what it is now in ECA. So just tell us a little bit about how you come up with the idea of rebranding Cage Rage into ECA, and what are the plans, just a little bit if you may.
Yeah, well, to start off, let's remind everyone how Cage Rage started. About 4 years ago, I was pretty much looking for something interesting to do. I just bought a PlayStation. I got UFC 2, then I got UFC 3, and I thought there should be some leagues. I got involved into that, and a little bit later, I decided to make my own league. But back then, I had absolutely no clue about streaming, about video editing, nothing about Photoshop or any of those type of programs. So pretty much it was a weekly league. You remember that. You've been part of it for quite some time. And at first, the name Cage Rage just came off just because it sounded good, Then a little bit later, I realized there used to be such a league, which I have some fighters have been champions there, and I've been a fan of those fighters. And it was kind of weird because I didn't realize that when I created the league and when we created the logo and everything. But then I just decided to stick with it. And when we started doing Cage Rage live, the name, the brand Cage Rage was already up there in the UFC gaming scene. So I just decided to keep it. But even back then, I was thinking of probably rebranding it to something that is more, um, that sounds more interesting, let's say, and more universal, because I plan to get involved in other combat games in general. So Cage Rage is more MMA related. So for the last 6 months, I've been trying to come up with a name that is unique and that represents what the league is and what the league will become. So that's how I came up with Esports Combat Association, because esports is something that people are very interested in, and what we're doing is pretty much esports, although we're not sponsored yet. Combat is because we're doing combat games, and association is because there's many people involved in it, and there's going to be more games that are involved in it. So it's going to be a real combat association just in the esports world.
So, like you said, there will be multiple games involved, and there are a few games that come to mind. You got your staples in UFC, in the EA UFC. Then you have your fight nights, and hopefully very soon we'll have ESBC as well, which everyone in the community is very excited for. A bit of skepticism, as we've seen with some of our interviews previously, but hopefully something will come to fruition. A Proxer up there definitely seeking that, because before I jump into before we even started this, I wanted to make a point of for the entire world to know who Proxer is. This man is one of the most awesome people that I've met. He is a professional boxer, and he is an elite UFC 4 gamer as well. And also on the mic, he is one of the most elite commentators that I've ever come across. So it's an absolute pleasure to be in your company once more. And again, so before we hear more from you, there are a few questions that need to be answered. And first and foremost, how did you get into Cage Rage and now ECA?
Well, to be honest, in the beginning, I was looking at leagues. I didn't really, find myself as the best competitor, and I was just working, having some different friends at the time, and they really got me into the game. And since UFC 2, I've been playing the games, not, really competitive, but then UFC 3 started to pop up, and I saw ESFL, a lot of different leagues, popping up. So I had my interests up, and then I waited, and a couple of my friends were like, "Oh, you should check out Cage Rage," and I was like, "Okay, I'd never heard of that. Let me see," and let me pop up in the server, right? Then I popped up. Uh, First of all, I was in KIA. That was a different clan that I'm in right now. I'm in BMF right now, and back then, all of my friends were telling me, "Oh, you should really check this out. It's one of the best leagues out there, apart from ESFL. It's crazy, and they're really just growing as in numbers, right?" So basically I came into the league as a competitor. First of all, going on a 3-fight streak, already Gancho, then knew my name. And then one time I was just looking and listening at the commentary. I was like, whoa, this is actually incredible. Because back then even Bane was on there, the first commentator that I loved listening to. He was like a real life John Anik. And then I was like, I sent a message in the chat and I was like, can I please, try to become a commentator in Cage Rage, because it looks incredible, right? And then after the event, Gancho calls me. He says, "So let me see how you if you speak the English language fluently." I was, yeah, of course I do. I've been talking this language for a while. Of course you need to get around places. And then we chatted until like 7 a.m. From like 11 midnight. We were just speaking, had a long conversation about everything. And then next week the event was there, and I was, the commentator there, and I was really proud to be there, part of the team officially of the staff members, and it was very accepting from everybody, including Gancho. And then it just became this sequel and this cycle that we were running every week, an event, and every week to be prepared to commentate, with the likes of Ben, Matrix. All of those guys are awesome at commentating, and it just popped off from there for me, and went on a crazy streak, 8-5 win streak. And then I was being seen as one of the best players in the league. I was like, whoa, all this recognition coming from nowhere. And it's just crazy at the time. And I'm really happy that I'm a part of Cage Rage and being, the main commentator right now and an admin for soon to be Esports Combat Association.
All right. So moving on with again with ECA and Cage Rage. So Gancho, you've been a guest here at Cage Rage before, and you told us in detail what Cage Rage is all about, how the league works, how some of the best players in the UFC 4 community or in the EA UFC community coming together and playing this game. Now, when you talk about transitioning towards ECA, which will essentially be a flagship promotion when it comes to UFC 4, again, your league is something that has been acknowledged by some of the biggest league runners, some of the biggest players that are out there. So again, there is a lot of traction that comes with being a part of something that you've been able to create. Now, in the coming days, so you mentioned that there will be more additional games that will be added to ECA. Also, you're planning to run different formats. You have mentioned a few things about taking this on another level. I'll let you explain what that means. But so in a summary, if you could let us know what are the basic or the main upgrades that are going to happen once ECA comes out.
Well, one of the main upgrades already started. We have our virtual currency. it's not an official cryptocurrency, so let's not get people confused here, but it's still a virtual currency. It's still a currency that is set by a bot into our Discord server. And this currency actually existed for quite some time, for more than 6 months, if I'm not wrong. And we had different games with it, but nobody was really involved using that currency in any way. So I was just sitting and thinking, okay, so what can we do with that? We have to just to keep the players engaged when they're not competing, because we have 1 or 2 events per week. So in the meantime, except just chit chat and trash talk, just like real UFC fighters, they have to do something else as well, and they need some incentive as well. They need something to brag about, and I decided to use that currency to actually start paying them. And while I was thinking about it, I actually realized, why not transferring that currency into real money eventually? So I came up with basically a plan, a scheme of payouts. And of course, you're not able to win some huge amounts of money, but it's still a good incentive, and I don't believe there's any other league in combat games, particularly UFC. I mean, there's obviously Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter where there's big events, huge events, I should say. But in UFC, I don't know about anything like that, except of course the multiple cash prize tournaments that have been held by us in Cage Rage, by ESFL, by other leagues like Primetime, or even just local streamers that are just doing something on their own, which is absolutely amazing, because that's what the players need. They need some incentive, because UFC is a really hard game, and I mean, it's hard to be one of the best, really. You have to really commit. So it's a good way to congratulate and just give some prizes to the players. So the Cage Rage currency, or we should call it the CR, is something that the players are getting per contract. So once you get signed into Cage Rage, soon ECA, you get the level 1 contract where you get 10,000 CR just to show up to your fight. And if you win it, you get another 10,000. You can also win fight of the night bonus, knockout of the night bonus, performance of the night bonus as well. But there's other bonuses like promotional bonus if you're a streamer, if you're a content creator, if you have a well developed TikTok channel, Instagram, or Facebook page, something like that, any type of social media, and you regularly promote the league, you're receiving the so-called promotional bonus. And this promotional bonus depends on how many followers you have, and of course how often you promote the league over that channel. And basically 1000 CR is wait, 1000 CR is $1 cent. I just got confused for a second. So pretty much 5 million, 500,000 is $5, 1 million is $10, and 2 million is $20. So like I said, it's not too much money, but I see a lot of people are getting involved into that. And with the growth of the league, with the people who sponsor us, with the people who donate through PayPal directly, or just the subscribers, and the viewers who are throwing bits, there is a certain amount of money that we managed to collect. And of course, like I've said last time we spoke here, all the income I'm putting into making the league better, because it's not something that I can earn from, but it's something that I can build with, and make something great over time. Because what I've realized actually is that people don't really care about the money. They don't. We've already have like 10 people who can cash out $10, $15, stuff like that. But they really don't care about that. Nobody has asked me to cash out yet. I know that a few of them are going to cash out when they reach $20 or more, but nobody is really talking about that much. They like it because it's a very, very good incentive, and like I said, there's something to brag about. And of course, we are also going to use that currency for entry fees for cash prize tournaments, where if you win the tournament or if you become second in the tournament, you're directly going to get the money over PayPal or some other type of platform.
All right. So for everyone listening who loves this game or thinks they really have what it takes, because there's a lot of trash talk in this community. So if you think you really have what it takes to step into that virtual octagon and show what you can do. I mean, there aren't many better platforms than ECA, or formerly known as Cage Rage. And again, I think this is a very innovative idea that we've come up with, especially with the concept of fighter contracts. And hopefully, moving forward, the CR actually reaches a certain valuation in which people would then cash out CRs instead of actual dollars. So I think that's going to be fun as soon as that comes out. There's this another addition that I think you didn't mention here, but has been something that has caught my eye, and a little jealous because when I was on the booth, that wasn't there, and that is the animations in the bottom. You have your commentators there with their own graphics there. That's definitely awesome. And how did you come up with that idea?
It was very funny because one of our commentators and moderators, Purple Urko, asked me, why don't we put like little avatars and they light up every time someone speaks this way, like the profile pictures on Discord of everyone. We can just even put our own pictures if you'd like. And they just light up every time we speak, you know? And I was like, okay, that's cool. But I've seen that. I mean, I've seen that. So you know me, I don't like copying stuff, like just copy paste. I just like to change it a little bit, improve it a little bit, make it a little bit more interesting if possible. So I was just sitting and I was watching something about the metaverse, and I wanted to actually install that app just to make my own avatar. So eventually, when that is being used more often, I've got my own avatar and I can jump right into it because I've got my own VR goggles. So I was thinking, why not? I mean, I can just be my own avatar in the metaverse. And then snap, I realized, why not? All the commentators have such avatars, me
Mm.
included. And I actually thought that it's gonna be even better if we fully animate them, which I didn't know how to do at first, but I figured out that if you have a camera, your avatar is moving according to what your face is doing, what you're speaking, is just tracking your whole face. Unfortunately, most of our commentators do not have cameras and do not have PCs, so this is something that will come in the near future. But currently, they're changing animation in between silent form and when they're speaking, and it's still their unique avatar, you know.
I can definitely say it's probably one of the most unique things that I've seen, and hopefully, like you said, if it comes to full animation, it's going to look absolutely amazing. Now, speaking of amazing, Proxer, I mean, me being a part of Cage Rage, as well as you being the future of Cage Rage, should I say, and ECA. You've seen some of the best competition that is out there, and especially you yourself as a competitor. You've headlined many events here at Cage Rage. So in this last 6 months since we've had Gancho previously, if you could let us know some of the best fights, some of the best moments that you've seen, and most importantly, what is it that excites you the most heading into ECA? Are there any individuals that you think are going to blow up? Do you think there are any individuals that we should keep an eye on? Just a little summary of what has happened and what we can expect.
Well, what we can expect for the competitors is to compete at the highest level like they've been for the last, a year that I've been a part of Cage Rage. Now it's going to be ECA, so it's going to be even bigger with Gancho saying that cash prize tournaments are coming out. There's one being held on February the 5th. So, a lot of competitors have been at the top of their game, some losing their game, some not even performing to the best of their abilities, like Sickwar, but he's still one of the most elite in the league. So we will definitely be seeing a lot of competitors, have this new meta of new fighting, which in this game, it's really hard to be the best at and to be the number one guy in the world. But the guys that you should have an eye on for everybody to say would be BMF Smudger, shout out to him, and Million as well. Samurai Robin, BMF Stoyan, a lot of my teammates. But of course, I'm gonna be, rooting for my teammates because we train together, we spar together in this game, and have virtual battles, over 200 fights. It's a lot, right? A lot of effort put into the game. So definitely, we're expecting to see a lot more cash prize tournaments in the future. A lot more, just generically speaking, a lot of new competitors coming to the Xbox scene as well, as the PlayStation scene is a lot bigger than the Xbox scene. So we have a champion right now in Xbox, 8044 Lopez. We have a lot of people, still being at the top, the PlayStation champion being Nas UFC with a big following on TikTok as well. Shout out to him for doing an amazing thing and promoting the league as well. So we're definitely going to be seeing a lot more competition thriving in as ECA is going to blow up, I believe, in my personal opinion, even more than Cage Rage did. Because I've seen right now, the year has been evolutionary for me to see such progress being made. And yesterday we got 3,000 followers on Cage Rage on Twitch. So it's absolutely amazing feeling, you know, when you see stuff like that, people donating bits, people donating to make the league better, because all of that money, Gancho's not keeping a cent for himself, but he is dedicating it to Cage Rage and the future tournaments. So I really appreciate that, because, you know, if you have a money hungry boss, it's never going to work out. And if you have a guy like Gancho is really putting everything into this work, and then second place is Cage Rage. You know, he has you know, a caring girlfriend at home, and he really does everything for Cage Rage. It's incredible how he maintains this time even when he's working. So I really appreciate the effort from him. And you know, I'm just here to ride down the glory lane, because it's going to be glorious by the end of this year, I believe. That's just my opinion and my prediction for this year.
No, absolutely well put there. There are some few things that you have to keep in mind when you're talking about putting together something as big as Cage Rage or ECA is now, because I think from its infant stage, we've seen Gancho putting in all the effort, all the hard work. And again, it's really good to see a lot of those ideas coming to fruition, and the league itself getting the recognition that it deserves, especially here with the guests that we have had here at GameKheyl. Especially, it was very interesting to hear the thoughts from Zed Hunter when he mentioned Cage Rage as a unique league. So again, your work is something that is being recognized, and best wishes from GameKheyl to all of you who are involved in Cage Rage, in ECA, and moving forward, hopefully with these amazing tournaments that are coming up, with these amazing ideas that are coming up, hopefully things would look on the up, above and beyond. And for everyone who's competing in these leagues, I mean, you guys are in store, because again, the commentators that are recently there, including you, Proxer, everything looks very on point. And again, I just have really nice things to say about Cage Rage in general. Okay, so Gancho, you're someone that I've known for a very long time, and there's one very distinct strength of yours, and that is that you like to think at least 2 to 3 steps ahead, looking into the future and having everything sorted and planned already. And that is something that has served you really well, especially with the growth of Cage Rage and now heading into ECA. Again, just to pick your brain a little bit, if you could share with us some things that you have in mind, especially when it comes to this league, any goals that you've set for yourself, and also maybe in the future, if you have some sort of an end goal in mind, if you could share some of that with us here at GameKheyl.
Yeah. Well, one of the goals is by the end of the year to reach some better numbers in terms of viewership, something like between 2,000-3,000, maybe up to 5,000 views per event. But those are just numbers pretty much. So numbers will build up as long as we keep working actively and just keep the quality of the production on point as it is. But one of my goals by the end of this year is to actually pass some of my knowledge to someone that I can trust, and someone that is as dedicated as I am, and just let them know pretty much exactly how Cage Rage works from behind the scenes, how the production works, how the whole logistics, the matchmaking, all the planning of the events, the timing, why Cage Rage or ECA events start at a particular time and not in a different time, for example, because every single thing that I'm doing, I'm just overthinking it and checking and making sure that it's working better. And sometimes I'm just doing little tests to make sure that whether it can be done better or not. So this is one of my goals, to just pass my knowledge and teach someone to be able to stream the events the way I do it. Lately, the staff team has been absolutely amazing, and I'm starting to pass some of that knowledge. For example, to the moderators, to Proxer himself, about the matchmaking, about all my upcoming ideas. Particularly with Proxer, I'm sharing pretty much 99.9% of all my ideas and everything that I've planned to do and to create in the future. Another thing is to, like I mentioned earlier, to get involved in other games, which includes not only fist combat games, not only combat sports in like MMA or boxing.
Mhm.
I'm also thinking of combat with maybe guns, because that's still combat. But this is something that I'll probably leave for some time in the future. But
Mhm.
this is a little plan that I've got for this year. I'm already in talks with a couple of people who are knowledgeable in those type of games, because you know me, I'm not particularly in shooters. I'm not a shooter type of guy. I like sports games. I like realistic sports games. So that's all it is. But yeah, there's a lot of plans coming into ECA. Particularly, another thing is to start making more incentive tournaments, more cash prize tournaments, and promote them like they're big events. Because I've upped my game in terms of editing, be it Photoshop or videos, and I'm very happy that I have such an amazing girlfriend as mine. She's an absolute star, honestly. Her skills in terms of video editing, and Photoshop skills and everything, and just 3D animation. She's just amazing, and I don't want to like nag her too much to do my stuff, because I just want to just do it by myself, because you know it's my ideas at the end of the day, and sometimes it's not as easy to explain exactly what you want. But every time she's got time, every time she's eager to help me, I'm trying to steal some of that knowledge, and then like I said, just transfer it a little bit, make it better in terms of what I'm doing, or just upgrade it and just do it in a more interesting way or more useful for the thing that we're doing.
Well, with the ideas that you've mentioned, maybe we'll have to bring you in for the third time because some of those ideas are awesome. And hopefully, once they come to fruition, especially the fact that there are more games, non fist games coming in, I think that's going to get a lot of people excited and hopefully expand what you're really envisioning and planning to do here. At Cage Rage and now with ECA. Now, Proxer, you're someone who is been around in and around the scene, especially around Cage Rage and some of the best fighters. You've been in the top 100 multiple times. Your style of play is something people who've been in here in GameKheyl have an idea of how good you can be on your day. He has competed in some of our tournaments that again, if you see on Cage Rage, you know what this man is all about. And again, when you talk about some elite gamers, they do not become elite gamers by themselves. They need support. And considering the fact that the gentlemen here both belong to a camp called BMF, the abbreviation of which I will not be able to speak here, but
First word is Balkan. First word
yes, the
is
first
Balkan,
word,
so
word
we
is
don't
Balkan.
confuse it.
MF, you can think whatever. Mother query, whatever.
Exactly.
So whatever you can think about it. But like I mentioned, both these gentlemen belong to this camp. Also, there are some of the most amazing gamers out there, like Smudgers, like Stoyan. You have a very thick roster that you practice in day out with these guys. So what is it like to be in and around these individuals, practicing day in day out, and most importantly, what do you think is the relevance of a camp for, let's say, an up and coming gamer, especially when it comes to combat esports? Because, like when you talk about UFC or in these games, we don't call or teams, we call them camps. So there is a definite change in, there's a definite level of another level of brotherhood, so to say. So how is it like for you being a part of BMF?
Being a part of BMF is just, a friendly experience and a family type experience, because with all of the people, I've been in BMF for a year, and all of the people are being so, from the beginning, so nice. And it's like a family. It's like a big family, a big team. Even if it's not real life, it's all virtual. It's still a family to me. And we all treat each other with a real amount of respect, and, just all around being really friendly with each other and having a brotherhood with everyone in the camp, like Smudger, BMF Million, Stoyan, Vanyo, BMF Terrible. All of those guys are great. Um, but people that you really need a camp when you come into combat sports. In general, gaming. It's just you need a team to be better, because the team is going to push you to be better at every single stat that you want to be in. So if you want to be a good grappler, you're going to grapple with someone that knows how to grapple. So striker, goes for the same route. So basically, a team and full of competitors that are competing in cage rage right now are, very at the top of their level, basically. And the BMF as well is one of the best teams in the world, all around, getting better even at grappling. So for me, it's a big thing because it helps you a lot. Before I was in the camp, I wasn't really concentrated that much, and I didn't really have the passion that I do now. As when I have a team now, it's a lot better with Gancho, of course, being the owner of Cage Rage, being there as well, so he knows everything that is going on in the camp itself, what we're talking about, any ideas for Cage Rage, soon to be ECA, of course. So with the upcoming games that Gancho is going to do, because it's not going to be Cage Rage anymore. It's going to be ECA, Esports Combat Association, with boxing games. ESBC is the most, upcoming game that everybody has their eyes on. So we can't wait for that, and we're going to be basically, getting better and better, competing at a different type of game than now it just was UFC and one lopsided. So now it's going to be multi-dimensional with ESBC, the new fight night that's coming out from EA, and UFC 5 when it comes out eventually this year. So that's all I'm expecting from, and being a part of BMF forever if I can, and not forgetting about my brothers, because they are like a family to me.
Rightly put. I mean, I've been a part of a few camps myself, and with every individual that I've come across, there is an amazing sense of brotherhood. You learn a lot of things. There's a lot of fighting as well. But again, which brotherhood doesn't have fights? So it's really good to see this community coming together. You're close with one another. Again, I believe we were remiss because one of my former campmates, Scott Hector, I think it's about a year since he passed away. So our thoughts and prayers with him and his family. One of the nicest people that you would ever meet. One of the best competitors to come across in the virtual octagon for all of us. Now, coming towards the business end of this interview, Gancho, you've mentioned a few things about the game itself, and I think this is the question that I wanted to ask you. I didn't have this planned before the interview, but this is something that I want to ask you now, and that is, considering a few months ago we were looking into esports, and we would see that the numbers themselves were kind of plateauing a bit in terms of viewership, in terms of the eyeballs that we were getting. And now it seems like there is a little bit of an uptick again. Some of the leagues are still pulling in numbers. There's more competition now. There are more leagues that are coming up as well. So what do you think it's going to take, especially on the marketing side of things? How do you think a league like yours, or maybe the other leagues that are out there, how can you create a greater appeal? Considering the fact that you want to get yourselves involved in metaverse, do you think that is going to be a new channel, a new way to engage a new audience, or do you think there's something more to be done by the community?
Yeah, there is. Part of the stuff that I'm doing is definitely being done in order to grow the audience. And if you're growing the audience of your own league, obviously you're going to grow the audience of other leagues as well, because we're doing pretty much the same thing. Each league is different from the other, but all the players want to compete as much as possible. If they can fight twice a day, they'll fight twice a day. As long as they're free, as long as they got the time, they're going to do it. So what I think all the leagues should be doing is to find a way to convince their players to promote themselves more as personalities, as players. There goes streaming. If you're a streamer, you have certain followage, people care about you, whether they like you or they want you to lose. That's another question. It depends on your personality. Some people are embracing the personality of the heel, Colby Covington, like Conor McGregor, trying to be the bad guy. Other people are just plain nice guys, Sick War, for example, absolute legend, absolutely great guy. Everyone knows his phrases like bye bye, bye bye. Everyone is using my friendo now, like they've been using it all their life, and all that comes from Sick War. Fabio, my man, absolute legend. And that's the main thing. The players need to represent themselves as actual stars, and they bring their haters or their lovers into the leagues to watch them win or lose. This is very important, I believe. And in order for you to do that, you have to give them pretty much, let's say again, an incentive. You have to give them a reason to do that. And here comes the CR, the virtual currency of Cage Rage. Although we're becoming KCA, it's not going to become ECA currency. It's going to stay CR just for the memory of the great league Cage Rage. So yeah, they're getting paid more if they promote themselves more, and the more followers, the more supporters they have, the more they get paid. Another new thing that I've just included since this morning, really, I made an announcement that the main event and the co-main event fighters are going to get pay-per-view points. So if the event has, let's put it simply with simple numbers, 1,000 views, each of the fighters is going to get 100 CR per view. So they're going to receive 100,000 uh, per fight. That's an additional pay-per-view bonus. So this is giving them a reason to bring their friends, even if they don't like, even if they don't play the game, they might like the game. They might like what we're doing, the whole production, the whole way we're talking about their friends and about themselves. You know, the way we're presenting them like actual neurological sportsmen and esports combat artists. And I believe a lot of people are amazed when they come and see what we're doing, because they don't realize there's this side, this world over there, and they're super excited, super surprised. Like yesterday, one of the players had brought some friends that are not involved in the game, but they were there just to support him, and they were spamming, "We love you, Evo. We do love you, Evo. We really love you, Evo." And it was like a thread of texts that like 10 people were sharing on the stream, which was amazing. When I see stuff like that, I'm absolutely up for it, and I'm super happy for those players, because they're also experiencing that emotion of being an esports combat sportsman.
No, I mean, this is something that you've touched upon, and I'm glad that you did, and that's the fact that if you want to get the eyeballs, you really have to make yourself be known. And the only way to do that is to make a little bit of noise. And whether you're nice or whether you're bad, no one's going to know until you open your mouth or you put yourself in public. So there's no such thing as bad publicity, as Eric Bischoff would say. So you would try to, in fact, what he said was controversy creates cash. I'm not saying create controversy, but just let yourself be known to the world. So I think that's actually a very strong piece of advice that you've given to all of us here. Also with Proxer, I mean, like you said, there are individuals in the background, in Cage Rage, in BMF, and I believe everyone to be able to help you guys with your fighting, with your league, they definitely deserve shoutouts. So this is one of our favorite parts of any interview that we do now here at GameKheyl. If there are any individuals that you'd like to mention, anyone that you would want to be recognized, or anyone we should keep an eye on, now's the time. If you have any shoutouts, spell them out.
I would like to.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Go
Can
on,
I
Prox. No,
I
go
wanted
on,
to
go
say
on.
I wanted to say a big shout out to BMF Smudger. He is, one of the nicest people, one of the nicest guys in the league. We watch every single event together, on PlayStation, and then we watch the events together for real UFC, and a real brother to me, like Million as well. We all chat about, have a great time, brotherhood like time, and really respect those guys. Everybody on my camp, a big shout out to the BMF and the whole. And a massive shout out to every single competitor in KJ, soon to be Esports Combat Association. And the last two shout outs I would like to give is to Gancho himself for providing the best league in the world, at least for me, and providing something that I've really wanted to be a part of, for a long time. And now he's making the things possible that I envisioned a couple of years ago, but I didn't even know, that Gancho existed. So a really big love to him, and I love him like my brother. And thank you, Naveed, for having me today. It's really been a pleasure, and love to you as well, bro.
I really appreciate having you here, Gancho. If you have any shoutouts.
Yeah, I have a few shout outs. To start with, someone who's been a huge part behind the scenes of Cage Rage and will be a huge part of ECA. He's a content creator himself, and he is actually streaming shooter games. He's streaming PUBG, he's streaming, what's it called? I forgot the name of the game, but it's Super People, I believe. An up and coming game. It's not released. I mean, it's released obviously, but it's like in creator mode. I don't know.
Open beta,
I
I
mean,
think, something like that.
yeah, exactly. So his name is EIO Gaming. He's streaming on Facebook, he's streaming on YouTube, and he's the person behind amazing highlight videos that we're putting up on every event. He's doing that with such a passion, and it amazes me every time how quickly he puts those videos together, because we make the event and then literally the next morning or the next afternoon, the next day in the afternoon, he already has the highlight video, which is crazy to me. Another shout out is to Sick War. Like I mentioned earlier, absolute legend. Something a bit unfortunate happened to Sick War. He lost his channel, Sick_War. He doesn't have access to that channel, unfortunately. But now he's got a new Twitch channel, which is Sick War, just SICWAR. So go follow him here. Go follow him there, everyone. If you've ever watched Sick War, you're going to enjoy his streams a lot. He's a great guy in general. So let's bring him back to those 1,500, 2,000 followers, or even more. Let's do it like 10,000. Why not? I mean, we can do it. Who else? Proxer, of course. Proxer, he's just killing it. I mean, I don't want to sound cheesy or something, but he knows it. He's a huge part. He's helping me hell a lot, and he's the leader of the commentators. He's the greatest commentator, and the whole passion he's putting into calling the fights, all the knowledge about the game, all the knowledge about UFC in general, and all the knowledge about everything that's happening into the league. He never forgets to say stuff that are important, stuff that I personally forget about, and sometimes I'm just like, whoa, oh yeah, that's a good one. I forgot to mention that. Announcements, and it's just great to have an amazing team. All the people in the staff team, all the moderators, all the admins, all the commentators, big shout out to them, including Matrix, the Gold. We have now the Flash AOW, who actually was part of one other league called MMA Madness, but now he's fully part of Cage Rage and will be fully part of ECA. By the way, ECA, 5th of February, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. UK time, GMT. 8 of the best players will be there. It's going to be an amazing tournament. Don't miss it. And generally, just keep an eye on what we're doing, guys, because a lot of great stuff are coming. And I believe by the end of 2023, we're going to be something that is recognized by a lot more people than the people who are involved only in the UFC community. And of course, if there's anyone out there who wants to sponsor an up-and-coming esports league, feel free to contact me. You can contact me in Facebook, you can contact me on Discord, Instagram, or you can just find my email and email me. You can find that in the bios. Absolutely welcome to all type of collaborations, including other content creators. And of course, shout out to all the leagues out there, all the leagues that are putting work, because I personally know very well how much work it and how much dedication, how much time it takes to make a good production. So they're doing a great job, and I'm just proud of being in that community.
Some real nice words there. Again, a lot of recognition for everyone that you've mentioned. If they have Twitter, we are going to tag them and we're going to let them know that they're loved by these two amazing gentlemen that we have had today. So before we just wrap things up, a few updates on GameKheyl. So no secret, if you followed our Twitter, you must have recognized all. Also, for some reason, my camera's focus is off. I don't know why, but we're just going to roll with the punches. The first thing that has happened was the fact that I contracted COVID-19, which I was successfully able to defeat. And sadly, because of that, I was unable to conduct any interviews. So these guys are the first interview that we've done this year, unfortunately. However, we do have a lot of things in the pipeline. We have a lot of guests that are itching to get here on GameKheyl, and we're just very blessed and lucky to have the support from everyone in the community. There's another trial and error based experiment that I tried. Unlike these gentlemen here, I'm not an elite gamer. I'm barely average gamer. So I started playing this game again, and I started streaming just a little bit on the YouTube. So whenever you find us live on YouTube, make yourself just come on and say hi. You're going to see me getting my ass whooped time and time again. So that's something that we started doing as well. Other than that, we are planning to move towards esports as well. There's a few things in motion with the Tekken community, with FIFA community here in Pakistan. Nothing. Not any major updates per se, but I think it's good to let everyone know how things are. For our friends here from ECA, all their details will be in the description. If you want to feel like, if you feel like supporting them, if you think you can be a part of this league, all the links will be mentioned below in the description. So make sure to give them some love, give them all the support that they need, because these guys have been at it for a very long time. And if for nothing, they've been putting in an absolute shift week in, week out to make sure that the best combat athletes get their recognition. And anyone who's putting in that kind of hard work at the very least deserves an eyeball. So if you can be a facilitator of that, do that for these amazing gentlemen. And again, for everyone watching, I'm very thankful for the views that we've been able to get recently, even though we have not posted any content, but the views have been off the charts. So I'm really thankful, considering the fact that we don't have a lot of subscribers. It's really a pleasure to know that most of you are watching the interviews that we're reposting. So it means we have a loyal fan base. And just to cash in on that, just let your friends know that we are putting in content like this week in, week out. And before we close this, any final thoughts? We'll start off with you, Proxer.
My final thoughts are, I appreciate it for you, having me here, and absolutely big shout out to GameKheyl, and subscribe right there down below, the red big button. Press that as hard as you can and like this video right here. I just want to say that it's been a pleasure working with Gancho, and it's been a pleasure working with Cage and with you as well, because you were there as well. And a big, you're a great friend of mine, and I really respect you and appreciate you for all the work that you're putting in. So a big shout out to you as well. Thank you for having me.
Coming from you, Proxer, that means a lot, considering the fact that we've been through very tricky, trivial times. We've been through the best of the times as well. And to hear these things coming from you means all the lot more. Gancho, if you have any final things to say.
Absolutely subscribe to GameKheyl. And let me mention, we're all saying that. Navid hasn't paid us to say it. We just like the content. So you should also like the content. And even if it's criticism, be it productive or just hate, don't shy from leaving a comment. It helps a lot. Leave a like, leave a comment, and share it to all your friends. Make fun of us. Look at me, I haven't shaved. Show it to everyone. Say, look at how Gancho's looking. And just have fun with all the content that's here and all the content that you're going to see in Esports Combat Association.
Absolutely. All the details of Esports Combat Association will be mentioned below. They will be starting off in February, and things will absolutely hit full speed ahead with these guys. So again, for everyone watching, again, thank you all for your support. Our description or details will be mentioned below as well. If you think you can take our support to another level, we have just set up our Patreon as well. So maybe, just maybe you can take a look there. Again, not forcing anything on you. If you like the content, like, share, subscribe, you know the drill. If you don't, just a thought or a prayer would work just fine. Again, for everyone watching, this is Naveed, Proxer, and Gancho signing off, and hope to see you guys with another guest real soon. And have a nice night. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.